Good morning and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living, where we come together as one, providing spiritual tools for daily living. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Tucker. I'm the senior minister here at the Oasis, and I always like to introduce this wonderful team that God has provided me. So first, let me introduce my faithful assistant, Faith, who has been my assistant since about 3 weeks old. Before that, I think you were more like, I don't know, when do kids actually start crawling? Because that's when you became my assistant. I don't know. When she was 3 weeks old, her dad brought her to church and would work the soundboard in one hand and have her in the other hand. And so she was more his assistant than mine. But then when she learned how to crawl, he'd let her go and she'd crawl right up on the stage and be up there like, I know what I'm doing. This is where I belong. So I would leave her there because I had this portable mic at the time. No. And I could just step over her. Come here. You need to come here. I know. Come on. Sorry.
Dog things.
Oh, she just wants to go over and eat all the bird food. And it's like, I don't want her gaining weight. Anyway, so Faith grew up 6 blocks from my house, and her dad was a tow truck driver. And so he used to, when he would go on out-of-town tows, he would drop the girls at my house. And I always have projects going on at my house. I'm just that kind of person that always has to have a project going. And so I got to see Faith's work. So when she was 14 and a half and said, I want a real job, I was like, yeah, I'll hire you. Come on. And I opened an ozone business. And so she came and worked for me. And out of the 3 assistants I had there, she was the best. But then after the pandemic, she couldn't come back. So during the pandemic, we decided to do church online. And so I said, do you want to be my ministerial assistant? And she said, yeah. And so here we are. None of us knew that it was going to last this long. Well, maybe we did. I don't know. I know there's some things about being in a facility that I like better. Because I can see the faces and I get that feedback, emotional feedback from people, which I don't get here. And so there's that, but also it's less work. We used to have to do the affirmation cards at night, and the singers had to rehearse with Lynn, and, we'd go in early and make sure everything was set up properly and all of that. And then at the end, have to clean it all up. So I don't miss those things, but I do miss that personal contact I had with the audience. But anyway, we love it when you say hi, hello, good morning, because when we're in a facility, like I said, I get that feedback and I know who's there and I see those shining faces. And with this software, I get a number. I don't even get a name. So I don't even know who my audience is. So please say hi, hello, good morning, however you want to greet us. And Faith will answer you as me. Because like in The Wizard of Oz, you pull back the curtain, there's an old man back there. When you pull back the curtain, you see Faith. And so she does all of the stuff behind the scenes. And, oh, cool. She does all the work behind the scenes so that, you're not listening to me. Well, I don't multitask very well when I'm speaking. Let's just put it that way. I get lost, as I just did. And so if it wasn't for her, there would be a very disjointed service. So, and she's also our soloist. And today, which is what I'm reading, she is going to be singing If Love Is Why We're Here from Songs of Spirit 4 by Karen Drucker. Mm-hmm. And that's great that she put it in the private chat like that so that I don't have to keep asking her because my brain doesn't seem to hold all that anymore.
I didn't tell her yesterday either, so it's a surprise for her today too.
Yeah, it's always a surprise when we do the month of love because I give her choice of what song she wants to sing. And so, not that I'm controlling, but I usually designate a song, but I've totally surrendered because I can't, there's a lot of stuff I can't do right now. I was telling her last night, I've had to learn to surrender because I literally cannot do dishes. I can't do anything with my back broken the way it is. And so I've had to totally surrender stuff that I would normally keep on top of in my house. So I kind of feel like that here at church too. Like I've had to surrender that, okay, it's okay if I don't get certain things done, you know. It is what it is. Anyway, so that is my faithful assistant, Faith. We couldn't do this without you, so thank you for being here. I love you. And then there is the wise and powerful. Oh, okay, she did that. God. Then there is my partner in crime, the wise and powerful Oz, who was my first baby practitioner, really, meaning he took all of his classes with me. And then once he graduated, he became my board president, or even before that, I think. But he was my board president for 7 or 8 years. And then he moved off to Florida, which meant we couldn't have him in the service anymore. And so when we went live for the pandemic, I said, hey, Oz, would you be willing to do this? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, thank God. I don't think he realized that it would be every weekend for 5 years, but here we are. And so he does the invocation, the benediction, and at the end, he's available for our 1-minute miracle. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. So thank you for being here, Oz. I couldn't do this without you. Love you. All right. And then we have an adjunct music team. They don't appear on camera, but they've provided us with music so that you don't have to listen to me for a straight hour. And one of them is Karen Drucker, who gifted us with her, at the time, 20 CDs worth of material. So we have songs by themselves. We have karaoke files by themselves. We have entire CDs, and we have songbooks to go along with them. And she gave us permission to use all of that so that we could do a traditional kind of Sunday service that included music. And then the first one to actually tell us to use her music or ask us to do her music was Reverend Fairy Lane Silver. So these two ladies have made it possible for us to be able to celebrate the way you would in a facility. So I really appreciate them. And then we have Albertina Giuffre, who used to be our soloist and needed a break to get her house sold and whatever. And so she appears, we invite her back, what she calls the crying season, which is Mother's Day, Father's Day, Memorial Day. And then she's here a couple of Sundays in December for our Advent series. So that is our adjunct music team. All right. There is a watch party button that you can click on and invite all of your friends to see what kind of service we have on Sunday that they can expect. And also you can talk amongst yourselves because you can't bother anybody. It's private. So click on that watch party button, invite all your friends, and have them enjoy the service. All right. I'd like to invite you now to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Allow the service to uplift and inspire you as we move into our centering song.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Sure. presence of God is in this place.
The presence of God, for God as we conceive of it, is all there is, all there can be, all there will be. God is timeless, God is ever present, God is infinite. Therefore, God must be right here, right now, wherever we are, whenever we are. And I know that God's presence is flowing through me and through every one of you, knowing that God is infinite and eternal, that God's movement moves through our lives, creating everything anew in each moment, in each instant. And that these blessings are as pure and as whole and as perfect and complete as they could possibly be, as we can allow them to be. I know that the blessings and love of God flow right through our service, and I give thanks that this is so. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Oz. This next song is one that Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver wrote when she was in practitioner training. And it's a really good reminder that we are connected by it, through it, as it, because God runs through all.
We are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. I hear it and know it, my being. Spirit is all I am seeing. For God is all there is. Grateful am I to be living, open to what I receive, honoring what I've been given, sharing now what I believe. I remember the oneness around me. I surrender to infinite light, knowing the love that's surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. Yes, we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it.
Yes, we are all one in it. So if you're just joining us, please say hi, hello, good morning, however you like, and Faith will answer you as me. She really is right on almost all the time, because she knows me better than I know myself. And so I always go back later and look and see if there's any questions that she didn't answer. But that's only happened like twice in the 5 years we've been doing this. So, but I will go back and look. But just say hi, hello, good morning. And like I said, she'll answer you as me. If you like something that you hear, whether it's something I say or Faith sings or Oz prays, use that thumbs up button. And if you love something, make sure and send us hearts, because we love to get love. I'm sorry, I can't make a perfect heart right now because I have to use one elbow to support my back. And if you love something that you hear really hits home, by all means, use that wow button. It gives me great feedback and lets me know when I'm on track. So I value that feedback very much. All right, without further ado, here is Faith singing If Love Is Why We're Here by Karen Drucker from the Songs of Spirit 4 CD.
If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive.
If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. Give and receive. Give and receive. If love is why we're here, let us be an open channel. If love is why we're here, let us give and then receive. If love is why you're here, let us be an open channel. If love is why we're here, let us give and then receive. If love is why we're here, let you be an open channel. If love is why we're here, let us give and then receive. If love is why you're here, may you be an open channel. If love is why you're here, may you give and then receive. Give and receive. Give and receive. If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. Love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. Love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. Love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive. Let me give and then receive. Let me give and then receive.
I just hit the dog. She had her head up and that's such a great song. That would have been perfect for week 1. I wasn't even thinking about that song.
I know.
I love that you did that. The reason I pick songs, just so you're aware, is not about control. It's about, I know what I'm going to be talking about, and I can't telepathically convey that to her every week. So for most of the time, I pick the songs because it's just easier than trying to explain my whole sermon to her. So, but with love, it's very easy, because
Love is love.
yeah, love is love. And so, just about any song will go with any week that I do this. So that's perfect, though. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So we've been talking this month is the month of love, and we've been talking about love in its various forms. Although love is love, we communicate that love very differently depending on who the intended is. In the first week, I talked about love of God as an unconditional love that we all experience with God's love. And that we practice unconditional love, and because we are practicing to make perfect. Not that we may ever achieve that, to be able to unconditionally love another person. We've been raised to be conditional with our love. If you do that, I'll love you. If you do that, I won't love you. And so I talked a little bit about that and how important it is for us to love ourselves before we love anyone else. When you're on an airplane and they talk to you, there's like, when the oxygen drops, put the mask on you first, and then you can help other people. And that's kind of the way love works too. Like, I can't truly love another person unless I love myself first. Because if I don't love myself, I'm not open to their love anyway, right? And any love I give is very conditional. So the first week, we talked about love of God and love of self. Then last week, because it was Valentine's Day week, I talked about love for a significant other, but I focused my attention on Valentine's being a day where we can give to ourselves, right? It's not that we don't celebrate, our spouse. It's not that. But the truth is that no one can give us anything like happiness. They can give us gifts, but they can't give us happiness. The only place that happiness can be found is within ourselves. And so I talked a little bit about, my husband was a musician and he was gone most of the year. Well, not most of it, about half the year. And there were only certain dates that were sacrosanct to me. One was my birthday, one was Mother's Day, and one was Valentine's Day. Oh, no, it was Christmas, not Mother's Day. Valentine's Day, Christmas, and my birthday. And for many years, we were together 43 years. For many years, he kept his promise and wasn't out of town for Valentine's Day. And one year he approached me with, I've got this really incredible opportunity, but I know that I said I would be home for Valentine's Day, so I'm, conflicted here. And I said, you know what, really, I'm the one who buys my flowers, and I'm the one who buys my chocolate-covered strawberries. And so don't worry about it. And I realized at that moment that what was important about Valentine's Day is feeling loved. And the only way we can feel loved is if we love ourselves first. So that's what I focused on last week. This week, I want to talk about the love of family and friends because, friends are easy. Friends are really easy because we choose them, and we choose them because we mesh together, right? Not that we don't fight with our friends. Some of us fight more than others with our friends, but it's easier to love them because they don't present challenges to us most of the time. Most of us don't pick friends that are going to offer those kind of challenges. Most of us pick friends and actually make them family because we have in common and because we love each other. There's just there's an interesting chemistry there that happens between friends. Family, on the other hand, is very different. Family presents a lot of challenges if we let it. Let's just put it that way. Because family never goes away. My brothers, I have 5. Well, I had 5 brothers. 2 of them are gone now. But I have 5 brothers and I had a sister. And so, each of them is a different person, obviously. And they're very different from me. My sister and I really were the only ones that had a lot in common. And the 2 that have passed on of my brothers were the ones that I had most in common with. And so, as I worked through the challenges of each personality in my life, I realized that on some level, I love them no matter what. There is that family unconditional love, if you want to call it that, that exists. But on the other hand, they present the most challenges to love. And that is because, we all have free will. That was a God-given thing that we have is freedom, will. And so because we have free will, sometimes we feel like it's easy to take it out on other people, our woes. And what happens is, because family is family, we feel safe to take it out on that other person, right? And so my experience of family probably isn't everybody's experience of family. But I've reached a point where I'm willing to let my family be themselves. I don't need them to be any different from me because I love myself. And so how they treat me or how they express themselves or any of that doesn't really matter. But we have to kind of come to a place for that, because I don't know about your household, but in my household, we were always told that we weren't allowed to fight. And when my sister came along, for example, and she was a little toddler. She was trying to stab me with a pair of scissors, and I grabbed her wrist, and my dad said, "Don't inhibit that child." Because we didn't, let's put it that way. In our family, we didn't have the freedom to be able to fight. Dad didn't like any conflict in the house. And so most of my growing up, I had to learn how to deal with my feelings myself. I couldn't express them. And my brothers didn't grow up in the same house as we did. And so we didn't have as many opportunities to work through problems and do problem solving as a family. So when they were there, it was a special occasion. So Dad would always say, no matter what, don't get angry. Okay, fine. It was easy with my sister. I waited 13 years for a little sister. Mom had several miscarriages, and I could not wait to have a little sister. So by the time she was born, I was 13, and I felt so blessed to have this little sister that I wanted for so long, that there was nothing that was ever important enough for me to fight with her, right? We had one argument a couple months before she died. That was as close to a fight as we ever got. It wasn't that we didn't disagree, but we never took it to that next level. Sometimes with family, when you fight, you don't talk to each other for a while, or, you try to get back at them or whatever. We never did any of that. And most of the time for me, I can't say what it was for her, but most of the time for me, it was, is this worth sacrificing our sisterhood for? And most of the time I would answer absolutely not. There was only a couple things that I stood my ground on. But she didn't really have any interest in fighting with me either. And she was a fighter. I watched her fight with her friends. I watched her fight with her kids. I watched her fight with everybody else but me. And I'm thankful for that, because she was a force to be reckoned with. But she and I never reached that point where we needed to process through that. But not every family is the same, you see. I know there's some people who have issues with their family that they cannot resolve. And so the only way they can keep themselves safe is to back away from them. But the truth of the matter is, if I love myself, it doesn't matter what that person says or does, right? We get triggered because of something within us, not because of something they did. I'm not saying, they can do or say whatever they want and it's okay. I'm just saying that if I love myself, I don't get triggered. And so my whole life has really been leading up to this place where I could love myself enough that no one can shake that. And I don't get triggered by much anymore. I find myself, when I do get triggered, I find myself withdrawing and working through it on my own rather than making them responsible for making it better. And so I say to you now that that is really the trick with family, that we really need to just focus on how do I make it so that I feel loved? Because that's really what everybody wants. You just want to be loved. And family members, we don't come with a handbook on, like your car comes with a book that says this is how to care for your car. But we don't have that for humans. And so they do what they do and they have free will. And I'm glad that everybody has free will. Somebody like Osama bin Laden, for example, I don't want him telling me how to live my life, right? And so I have to allow others the freedom to be who they are and not try to change them either. And I'm famous for saying, I'd rather be happy than right, because so many times we want to be right. We want to show that other person that we're smarter, or that, whatever they're saying is invalid, or all of that. And the truth is that if we want to be happy, we can't go around doing that. I don't know how many of you know people like this, but who confront everybody about everything, and they're the most unhappy people on the face of the planet. And that is because instead of going inward and looking at what's going on for us that's causing us to be triggered, we want that other person to change their behavior to make us feel better. And then there's people on the planet like my dad who doesn't like conflict, so will not speak up for themselves at all. When I was first starting in religious science, I was kind of a hot reactor, but the only person that suffered from that was my spouse. Lynn, God bless him, put up with so much for me. Because I had been hospitalized when I was younger. I think I was 18. And I was told you have to let the anger out, because I was passing out because I had turned all that anger inward. And you have to express your anger. You have to express your anger. Well, I took that as a license to vomit all over everyone and blame everyone else for everything that was happening inside of me. And when I got into this philosophy, I realized suddenly, I can't remember if it was a meditation or a class, but I suddenly realized that expressing your anger is not the same thing as vomiting all over someone else, right? Expressing my anger is simply a matter of me saying, I'm really angry. I don't have to say it to that person. I can say it within myself. But whatever it is, I take ownership of it. I am angry. And funny how when you do it that way, the anger dissolves. Because really, when you get down to the base of what it is, you're afraid of something. And so you discover for yourself, what am I angry about? What am I afraid of? And then you begin to talk yourself out of that fear. And when you do that, the issue just disappears, right? But I find that dealing with family, that's the way it has to be. So I choose to be happy rather than right. And then I go off, I say, thank you for sharing. And I go off into my place and, my space, and process through it myself. When I do that, I'm no longer making them responsible for my feel good, right? And with family, that's important to know, because like I said, family never goes away. I was raised in a Jewish household where guilt was used to manipulate us. And and so anytime somebody tries to manipulate me, I right away get triggered. These days, however, instead of attacking them for trying to manipulate me, I draw back and I do my work about what is it that I'm afraid of. And usually it's a fear of not being loved. It's a fear of someone having control over me, which that's one of my biggest issues, is me, someone having control over my life. But I've learned to work with that so that I feel safe, I feel loved, and I don't have to attack the other person or confront the other person in order for me to be happy. So I always say I'd rather be happy than right, right? And so family is a very good opportunity for us to practice our self-love, to practice letting God flow through us to that other person. That because they're going to do what they do. You know, they have their issues and they're working through their issues. And while they're working through their issues, because we're safe, they may take it out on us. But the only way that I can feel happy and I can feel safe and I can feel loved is if I work through my own stuff. I'm not telling you to blame others for, you know, what they do. I'm not telling you that you need to say it's okay that they do that. But we do work on forgiveness, because if I forgive them, I free myself from the bonds that have chained me to them. And it has nothing to do with that other person. They've gone on, you know, they're doing what they do. They don't even realize that we're upset. The only person who rehashes it over and over and over again in ourselves is us. And when we rehash all of that, then we suffer. So forgiveness is all about not suffering ourselves, being happy. So think about that this coming week, about being happy versus being right. Now, when I talk about the love of friends, like I said, we choose them. We choose them because we have a lot in common. We choose them because they make us feel good, or they give a pathway for us to feel good. We have fun when we're with them. We can get into a deep love with them very easily, because they're not challenging us on a daily basis to be something we can't be, like family usually does. I know when I was growing up, there was an expectation that everybody had of me, and I didn't fulfill that. I never chose a profession that was a female profession. I always chose male professions. I chose not to have kids and be a mom and, you know, do the family thing. And so I didn't live up to their expectations. Well, we don't do that with friends. Friends see us as we are, know who we are when they meet us, and they don't expect us to be any different than that. And so it's a lot easier with friends. But we still have the challenge with our friends of working through our own stuff, because friends are not always going to meet all of our needs, right? I don't know about you, but I've had friends in the past that I was very disappointed with, because I felt like they should show up at a certain time, or that they should do certain things at certain times, or that they should, you know, contribute to my happiness better, or whatever that looked like. And whenever I put myself in that position, or put them in that position of meeting my expectations, that's when I was disappointed and angry and hurt. But when I finally decided that, okay, they are who they are, and I'm responsible for my own feel good. So if I'm not feeling valued or loved or whatever, then I need to value and love myself more. Once I started doing that, then it was amazing how much my friends would step up and do things that I wanted them to do. Not that I'm manipulating them. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that when I have resistance to something, I create a blockage that doesn't allow someone to love me their way, right? And I don't need somebody to love me my way, because I love myself my way. Back in the old days, I expected them to love me my way. And like I said, we don't come with a handbook. So it's not like, okay, this is what Tucker needs to feel loved. This is what I have to do in order for Tucker to feel loved. That's that conditional love that I talked about, that we've all grown up with, that this is what it means when someone loves us. They, you know, they appear at the right time. They cancel plans to be with us. They don't spend more time with their boyfriends. They don't, you know, all of that kind of stuff. They choose their boyfriend over us sometimes. And when they do, we have to not be triggered by that, because I'm responsible for my own feel good. So if they're spending more time with that significant other, then I'm spending more time with myself. I'm probably one of, very few people who actually enjoys my own company better than other people. It's not that I don't love other people. I do. I like going out and I like doing things. But my favorite place to be is in my home by myself. And so it's really funny when I was talking to my doctor, they're like, we don't want to give you painkillers because, we're afraid you might fall. Do you live alone or do you have other people in the home? And I'm like, no, I live alone, but my house is constantly, people are coming in and out of my house constantly because they're helping me with things. Like every night, my nephew, God bless him, Johnny, comes over and covers my bird cage at night because with my back broken, I can't, manage the comforter that goes over the top. And, I have people coming in and doing all kinds of things for me. My neighbor does my trash, all of that. And so I forgot where I was going with that. But my favorite thing is to just be in my house by myself. And everybody gets concerned about me, like when Lynn died or, now with my back, people are really concerned about me because I'm spending so much time alone. But that's my favorite thing to do. And I think that's because I finally realized that I'm responsible for my own feel good and for my own feelings of value and worth. And when I stopped needing other people to show me that, is when I truly became happy in my circumstances, happy with myself, happy with sitting alone, happy with just enjoying my garden by myself, those kinds of things. So I tell people, don't worry about me. I'm fine. I'm not isolating or anything like that. I really enjoy my own company. And so when I have friends who go off and be with their significant other and don't have time for me, I remember that. I remember that it's okay for them to go do that because I'm happy right where I am at. And so my expectations of those other people, of my friends in particular, has adjusted now to whatever you do, right? I have no expectations of their friendship being there all the time, right? It's a little different now that I broke my back. I need people to do things for me. So then my expectations are a little bit higher. But for the most part, with my friends, I don't expect a lot out of them. And because of that, I'm more at peace. I'm more happy. I feel loved because I love myself. And that's really the gist of all of this. This whole month of love is really about loving ourselves so much that no one else could make us feel unloved, right? We tend to take it very personally when people don't step up for us when we think they should. I'm not going to say that I never get triggered by that, but it's only when I really need something, like because of my back, for example, or because I really needed somebody to come through for a certain task and they don't. Then I get triggered. But other than that, it's a lot better for me to just be happy with who I am and where I am and what I'm doing and my own company. So I suggest to you that through this whole month of love, when we're talking about all of this, that it all comes back to that same thing, that self-love. Whether we're talking about God or we're talking about a significant other or we're talking about family and friends, it all comes back to our own self-love. And so this week, I'd like you to think about that and allow yourself the experience of accepting yourself for who you are and being good with who you are, providing your own self-love, because no one else can penetrate that peace that you have if you are truly in love with yourself. Will you do that with me this week? Let's have a prayer. Right now, I just tune into the infinite power, the infinite presence, the infinite life of God. To that place within us that knows beyond human understanding just how powerful, how wonderful, how magnificent that is. To that place within me that knows beyond human understanding that God is always there, always within, always around me and through me. And so that's where I find myself, in the midst of God, my very essence, my very life, my very being. It is who and what I am. And every thought, every action, every deed is guided by that ancient wisdom of the ages that flows through all. So I know that same truth to be so for this wonderful team that God has provided me to manage. For Faith and for Tina and for Oz and for Karen and for Elaine. I do know that same ancient wisdom of the ages that flows through me, flows through all, and flows through the team. And so we are guided and led to what ought to be done by us, by that ancient wisdom of the ages that flows. I know that same truth to be so for every person listening to this, whether that's in real time or later on, because that same flow of God flows through all of us. There is nothing that can impede that flow through us. There is no place where one leaves off and the other begins, for we are all one. All my brethren, we are related. And so I bless this coming week with an awareness of all of the love available in the universe to us, because it flows within us, because it surrounds and enfolds us, because it is who and what we are. And so this week is a perfect time to reflect on how we can love ourselves more, how we can be the happiness we seek, how we can enjoy the unconditional love of God through us, and how we can broadcast that to the other people. So I bless this week. I know it is good, as I bless every name that is in the ministry of prayer today, because I do know that whatever the challenge they are experiencing, that love of God is the answer. That love of self is the answer. And so I pull back the veil here and now and expose that truth. I expose God in the situation. I claim it, the good, in their name. I claim it as good and very good, and I just give thanks for this. My heart fills with gratitude to know that this is so, to be of service in this way. And so I just let it be. And so it is. Amen.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world.
Thank you, Faith. I always think you're going to go through that instrumental because you used to do it. And I'm always like, oh, that's right. She's not doing it.
I base it on how much time we get through.
Oh, okay.
We have no time for announcements. There's like 3 breaking points in this song that I can work with.
Okay, cool. Good to know that's what you're doing. All right, thank you. Sorry. Ooh. Coughing is a little more complicated these days. So now is our opportunity to receive your gifts, tithes, and offerings. And your opportunity to share gratitude, the feeling of gratitude for that which you have already experienced in the physical realm, or perhaps have created in the mind of God but may not have yet experienced it in the physical realm. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you to go with me to www.oasiscsl.org, and you'll find an offering affirmation about 2/3 down the page. And underneath that is a Contribute Now button. So briefly, I just want to tell you what that means, what contribution means in this context. When we're in a facility, there's rent and utilities, and there's all kinds of expenses that are related to the facility. Here, because we do not have a facility, the only expenses we really have are we pay Faith to be the assistant because she does all this work, and being the soloist and everything else. And the major expense is advertising. Our vision is a healed world. And our mission is to heal the world one person at a time. Well, it takes money to market so that that's a global reality, right? We already have people from the Philippines, Bangladesh, India, Germany, the UK or England, the Netherlands or Holland. But we want to expand that to the entire world. I feel like if we can get our message across to some countries where our message really is needed, then that will help, heal the world one person at a time. Anyway, and so that's our biggest expense, is the marketing of that. Unfortunately, it takes money to do that. So right now, whether you're here in real time or later on, please go with me to www.oasiscsl.org. And about 2/3 down the page is the offering affirmation. Please say that with me. This perfect gift is spirit in form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive. And so it is. Hit that Contribute Now button and help us with our mission to get to our vision. All right. We have this wonderful team of licensed practitioners from coast to coast that serve our church in 3 different ways. One is that if you would like prayer for something, you can put it in the comments section, and they will pray on those requests every day for a week. If you don't want it to be public, DM Faith, and she will make sure our God Squad gets it. We've been calling them the God Squad since 1998 because I had this image at one point of them the practitioners marching in and taking charge. And so I've held that vision of the God Squad all this time. So if you don't want it to be public, if you don't mind it being public, put it in the comments, and they will pray on it every day for a week. If you don't want it to be public, DM Faith, and she'll make sure the God Squad gets it. The second way that practitioners serve our church is by providing spiritual guidance by appointment for a fee. And so if you would like to set up something, at this moment it is just Oz. If you would like to set up something with Oz, you would reach out to him by messenger and let him know that you would like an appointment for spiritual guidance. He will let you know how to pay for it. I don't get involved in that. The practitioners have their own business. Some of them use Wise, some of them use PayPal, some of them use Cash App, Venmo, Zelle. And like I said, I don't get involved in any of that. So he'll let you know how you can pay for it, and he will reach out to you by video chat at your appointed time. The third way that our licensed practitioners serve our church is what Oz does every week, and that is our practitioner of the day, meaning he does the invocation and the benediction, and then is available at the end for our 1-minute miracle. It's not a time for counseling, but it is a time where you can share with him whatever challenge you're experiencing, and he will stop, drop, and pray with you right then and there. And so take advantage of this loving services that our practitioners provide. Excuse me. Oz was asking me, so are you still coughing? Yeah, but not very much. Luckily. All right. So Brooks and Bailey are 2 ladies that make wonderful jewelry. For instance, they sent me a bracelet almost 5 years ago, that has a little circle and a clasp that goes through that. I lose bracelets like crazy. Like I lost a diamond watch in Vegas, and luckily somebody turned it in. That was very sweet that they did. But I'm always dropping jewelry. And this thing has only come off my arm once in the whole 5 years. So It's wonderful. But I always focus on the mala beads myself. Anyway, you can reach them through Brooks and Bailey 0307 at Gmail or through their Facebook page. All the proceeds go to Rocky Mountain Rescue, which is Lab Rescue, which is a very worthy cause. And so let me talk about the mala beads just for a moment here. This particular strand is amethyst, so it's $60. But they have all kinds of gemstones that are like $30 and up for the necklace. The necklace has 108 beads on it. And the Buddhists and the Hindus use it by moving one bead at a time to do their chants. And so I suggest, because I always say, you know, do 100 affirmations a day, I suggest using the mala bead necklace for that. 108 beads on the necklace. The bracelets are 54, so you would just do it twice a day. And those range, I believe, somewhere between $15 and $25. So that is Brooks and Bailey. Okay. Check out Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver's website to find out what CD you want. Her website, unfortunately, doesn't show a current form of payment, and she's not able to update that for some reason. But she travels around the country singing and playing guitar, and so she carries the CDs in her the trunk of her car. So once you pay for it, you reach out to her by email. Oh, there you go. Reach out to her by email and let her know which CD you want, and and then she'll tell you how to pay for it. And once you pay for it, she's very good about putting it in the mail right away. And then there is Karen Drucker, whose website does work, and you can buy it by the song, by the CD, by the karaoke file in case you want to, you know, sing to a karaoke file. She has a songbook that has all the lyrics to it. You can buy it by the song even. I think she has lyrics that you can do. But definitely check out these two ladies. Her website does work. You can pay for it right then and there. But these are great gifts to give for somebody. It would have been a great Valentine gift, especially the love CDs. But it's also a great gift to give for birthdays and anniversaries and that kind of thing. We highly recommend, Faith and I highly recommend Karen Drucker's Songs of Spirit CDs. And Songs of Spirit 4, which is what the song was from today, has a lot of love songs on it. So it's really nice. A lot of self-love too. But she also has some CDs that are regular songs that are just uplifting. All right. Then check out our website at www.oasiscsl.org. And you can see pictures of, you know, events we've had at the church when we had a facility that let you know what your spiritual family is like. We are seriously out of date. I apologize for that every week. It seems like my life has conspired against me getting this update to the website. You know, first my sister died, then my husband died, and then I ended up with an 8-year-old that I had guardianship with. And then I got the flu or pneumonia, and then I broke my back. So we haven't gotten it done. But in the meantime, you can see the video sermons on YouTube and listen to the audio sermons from years prior on SoundCloud, and it's all under S. Tucker. So, goodness gracious. I'm going to turn this over to Oz real quick here.
And I know right here, right now, that God's presence guides us through the week, manifesting as all we see and all we do. I know that there are blessings involved inherent in this situation, and I give thanks that it is so. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Oz. All right, everyone. We are so blessed that you were here with us, because I know there's 1,000 things you could be doing on a Sunday morning, and you chose to spend it with us. We really appreciate that. Please come back at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time, USA time, next week and every week. We will be doing the last of our Month of Love series next week, where we're going to talk about love of the world. And so I guarantee you it's going to be an interesting topic these days. So definitely come and join us next week and every week, 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time, USA time. Till then, stay safe. We love you. Bye.